Taste of Country Nights with Evan Paul on demand, season 2, episode 22 with Jelly Roll. Whose DMs are worse, yours or Bunnie's?
As far as
well,
you can guess. But poor Bunnie will get her eyes poked out. That's what she calls it, getting her eye poked out. She'll still open a DM every now and then, just some dude just swinging pecker on there. And she's just like, what?
Does that get to you?
It makes me, no, don't make me mad. It makes me feel bad that women are subjected to that, though. That just like, could you imagine if, like, as dudes, I don't worry about that. It's not a thought I have. And if a girl sends me a boob pic, I'm excited. I'm like, yo, boobs. You know what I'm saying? And my wife's cool like, oh, dick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude.
I'm telling you, we had a really good time in here. Anytime Jelly Roll comes by, it's a lot of fun. I do want to warn you, there is some adult language used in this interview, so if you have some kids around, just a heads up. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and check out some past episodes of Taste of Country Nights on Demand. We had Thomas Rhett in here recently, The Rock, Chris Jansen, Lainey Wilson as well. Just search for Taste of Country Nights on Demand. Taste of Country, man. We're hanging out with Jelly Roll. Introduction.
Dude, I'm back at the table. I am back sitting at this table with you. Man? It's where it started. It's where it all started. We're back here.
I remember you sitting here telling me you were about to jump full-fledged into country music.
Yeah. Whenever I was having to run around and convince everybody I was going to be a country artist for good and oversharing my life story with the world.
Yeah. Man, how are you and your wife doing after Bill passed away, man?
Man, I thank you for asking first. You're the first person to ask that in 2 days of media. She's doing better. She's hurt. You know, her and her father didn't have the best relationship throughout her whole life, and they really didn't start getting too cool until she was in her 30s, and even then it was very tumultuous. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it was a sad ending to a book that already wasn't incredible. Probably the best way to put it. But she's holding her head up fine, and I love Bill to death, so God rest his soul.
Is it hard for you to be present when your family needs you because you're so busy right now?
Yeah, for sure, because I never slowed down through it all. You know, I felt so bad. My wife was having to grieve alone just because when this thing gets, you know, it's just hard to stop. But we spent a lot of time together, and we're going out of town this week.
Where are you about to go?
When's this come out?
And that's for a while.
Okay, I think we're going to go to Blackberry Farms.
Oh, nice.
I've never been. I've heard it's really, really nice. Have you ever been?
I've never been.
I heard it's super swanky.
Okay.
So I think we're going to go out there.
Nice retreat, man.
Yeah. I think we're going to go spend a couple of days, just me and her somewhere, and kind of talk about it all.
ACM Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. That speech, man. Dude. Every time you give a speech, you leave me like I'm in tears.
Man,
it's like so inspirational. I want to like listen to it in my car on my way to work every morning. Like you're the raw emotion, man.
Thank you. It's Save Me was special. It was hard. When I was nominated for these 4 awards, and I called my publicist and I said, I don't know how this works, but do we campaign for one? Because I don't understand how it works, you know? And she was like, well, which one do you want to win besides Entertainer of the Year? I was like, I don't want to win Entertainer of the Year. I was like, I want to win Collab of the Year. I want to win Event of the Year. Because Save Me meant so much to me, man. It was the song that did it. It was the song that changed my whole life. You know what I mean? That song changed my life and then went on the radio and changed my life again. And just the lifespan of that song, you know, to see it that song was released 4 years ago, and I feel like it got what it deserved 4 years later on that stage, and I just could not hold back the emotion. Because you think about where you're at when you write those songs. That's what people, from the songwriter perspective, I'm walking up there thinking, dude, I was in one of the darkest places of my whole existence when I wrote this song. Like, I was in a very hopeless scenario, I felt. You know what I mean? And then to see come 4 years later and this song has helped millions of people and I'm winning a fucking award for it, I'm like, get out of here. This is crazy. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, and then performing Liar, is that kind of where your new music's headed?
A little bit. You know, I'm all over the place, man. Just kind of like, but I felt it was important to start the new era of music at the ACMs because we had done Save Me there. We had launched me and Lainey there. And I think that with right here, as we're celebrating Halfway to Hell coming number 1, it's kind of the end of the Wits at Chapel era. So
Yeah.
it's kind of just time for it. I don't even know if we're going to put Liar out for what it's worth. I'm still on the fence about it. But
Okay.
it was important to just be like flag in the ground. It's time for new music.
So what are we going to learn about you and your upcoming music that we don't already know?
Man, there's a lot of storytelling on this album. I wrote probably 100 and something songs last year, maybe 150 plus, trying to figure this album out. I've never been more inspired, though. I was getting so many stories. People were pouring into me. They were telling me I'm at gas stations and red carpets, and I'm hearing life stories from, people, and really inspiring stories. So I've never wrote more.
Do you feel more pressure? Do you feel the sophomore pressure?
Yeah, which is crazy because I put out 32 albums in my career. I've released 350 songs, and I'm over here like, I hope I don't have a sophomore slump. I'm so petrified,
That's funny. Post Malone's about to drop a whole country record. How do we get to Post Malone without Jelly Roll and what you did for country music?
Oh, dude. Well, I think, because Post is like me in the regard of he is true to country music. There's an interview that Post said 7 or 8 years ago when he was like, 10 years from now, I'm going country. It's like when he released, you remember when he released that, I've been spending all my money on weed and pills, trying to write a song that'll pay the bills, when he covered that Sturgill Simpson record. Uh-huh. This was, 5 years ago? It's like this has been his heart. We all forget that Post Malone broke on YouTube singing Bob Dylan songs before White Iverson. He's just making it to where his heart is. And, man, I've hung out with that guy. He's one of the best dudes on earth, the sweetest soul on earth, and he knows more about country music than guys in this town that have 10 number ones. There's guys in this town that have 10 number ones on country radio that if you put them and Post Malone in a room together right now and they played country song for country song, who knew more country about country music? Post Malone knows more about country music than, I'd say, 7 artists that have had 10 number ones in this town.
Wow.
You want me to name a couple?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Fuck you.
I was like, all right, man.
He was like, yeah, give me that headline.
I'm going to hit my bonus.
Fuck you. No.
I saw you.
That's a true story.
Yeah, I saw you want to do a half marathon now. 13
Man,
miles.
I might have overshot.
Okay.
Dude, let me tell you.
Way.
I was telling somebody, I said, when I say next year, I'm thinking next Turkey Day. Like a Thanksgiving half marathon. I woke up and walked 2 miles this morning, and it was brutal. I was like, I got to put another 11 on that and jog? I was like, man.
Do you have like a goal, the weight and stuff you're trying to get to, or health? Or
nah, I just want to feel better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm really anchoring in my Gary Brecka put me on a supplement plan to get my hormones right. Even this morning, I woke up 5 hours earlier than I'm used to waking up, or 6 hours earlier than I'm used to waking up. I still woke up this morning, walked a mile, got in a sauna, and did a cold plunge.
What are you eating now?
Man, it's just better overall, just thinking about it. And when I do eat bad, I just try not to eat a lot.
Okay.
I'm just trying to change my entire relationship with food. And I know that sounds cliche, but I have had clearly a horrible relationship with food.
Yeah.
But historically, if you look back at my patterns, I've had a horrible relationship with anything I've had a relationship with. I don't know how to do things in moderation in general, and I'm working on that, and it's been helping me a lot.
Dog, I used to be like 500 pounds.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I was the same thing.
Yeah.
You just have to change the relationship you have with food, man.
100%.
It sucks, but you have to do
And the
it.
first thing I've learned this time is I'm not treating foods like it's the devil. I fucked up last time I lost weight and did that, which is why I gained a lot of the weight back. Because I would be like, I'm never going to eat anything but fish and plants again. And that's just not fucking real.
Yeah.
It's just not real.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, now I'm like, I'm going to eat the shit out of this broccoli.
Yeah,
I've never said that before, So, like, are you still smoking and drinking?
Drinking and smoking?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I only drink to celebrate. So I probably, I drank after the ACMs, of course. I drank after the CMT, so I've drank a couple times this year. But other than that, I'm not really drinking. I drank after the iHeart Awards.
So, I mean, like, is it safe to say we could see you training for the 5K with a blunt, walking on the street?
No, we took a dab on the 5K.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
no, listen,
okay.
I get in trouble for this all the time, but my stance on marijuana will always be the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I believe marijuana has helped me in so many regards with my anxiety, and this is a hot button topic, but truly marijuana has kept me sober. And I know that I have friends who don't do that. I have friends that are in the program that totally are against any kind of mind altering anything. And I respect that, which is, I have so much respect for those people. It's just not the way that my sobriety worked out. I think a world without weed, Jelly Roll's drinking codeine and popping Xanax and snorting cocaine again. You know what I mean? Yeah. But a world with weed, I'll be all right. You know what I mean?
I saw you were looking at a 500-acre farm.
Yeah,
you
big
grow a lot of weed on that
Evan,
thing.
you should see this. I will not be growing weed on that thing, no, for sure. If the feds are listening, please don't worry. We're not growing anything over there.
Why are you guys looking to move? Have the weirdos found you guys?
We get found. We get found everywhere, but I had a rich uncle whenever I was a kid. Did you have any rich family?
Yes. Right?
And I would go to his farm, and it's the first place I shot a gun, and we'd go quail hunt, and I spent a lot of time out at my Uncle Buford's farm. And I just remember thinking, man, he's doing it right. I want the opportunity to do this one day. Like, this would be really cool if I could. I just kind of always wanted one.
Whose DMs are worse, yours or Bunnie's?
As far as?
Well,
you can guess. But poor Bunnie will get her eyes poked out. That's what she calls it, getting her eye poked out. She'll still open a DM every now and then, just some dude just swanging pecker on there. And she's just like, what?
Does that get to you?
It makes me, no, don't make me mad. It makes me feel bad that women are subjected to that, though. That just like, could you imagine if, like, as dudes, I don't worry about that. It's not a thought I have. And if a girl sends me a boob pic, I'm excited. I'm like, yo, boobs. You know what I'm saying? And my wife's cool like, oh, dick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude. I was like, oh, you got another set of dirty balls. Look, I got some titties. You know, just two totally different things happen. Of course she's cool with that. We don't. Yeah. We live our. People used to think we were like in an open relationship, which I guess we are. We just don't live in that world of unnecessary jealousy. Okay. You know what I mean? That's just not a. I love her. She loves me. I know that's my person. She knows I'm her person. Like, I think when the Chris Motionless thing happened, her hall pass, her date, and that turned into a big thing. That. It was so funny for me because one, it tickled me pink, but two, it's like. I think that's cute. Like, I had a problem with somebody one time about this. I call my wife my best friend. My other best friend is a guy named Sturgill Jennings. We've been best friends 20-some years. I had a moment one time where I was talking to my wife and I was afraid to say something to her that I would have said to Sturgill. And I thought to myself, is that really my best friend? That's and I true. Challenged that.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, if me and Sturgill seen a pretty girl, we would acknowledge it as two men. I mean, that girl's beautiful. I do the same thing with my wife now. Hey, check this out. You see that girl? She's hot, right? Got pretty eyes, huh?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like we don't live in that space.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To me, it's like we're truly best friends. Like she's going to find other men attractive, as she should.
Okay.
I'm going to find women attractive. I think it's our honesty and vulnerability that makes it cool for it. We talk about it and roll straight off of it. I never have to get worried caught looking at a chick's butt. I never have to worry about her looking at fucking some rock and roll dude and thinking he's hot. It's like, cool, he's hot. You know what I mean? She's hot. It is what it is. Like, people are hot. Like, it's my best friend. I'm going to talk to you just like I would Sturgill.
Tell me about this. MGK's in studio at Jelly Roll, Travis Barker, and Youngblood. They're working on something Southern fried.
Yeah, baby. I love that. I love that quote. MGK said, I'm in the kitchen and it's Southern fried.
What's going on?
Oh, that's my buddy, man. We're cooking. We work a lot, man. I've known Kells 15 years, probably 14 years since we were both on the underground hip-hop scene. We were both just trying to sell 200 tickets to a bar in the short north in Columbus, Ohio. Hip-hop was competitive back then, so, of course, we beefed like two white. There's only enough room for one white rapper at a time. But we've turned out to be really, really, really good friends.
Okay, cool. What's on your backstage rider right now?
Socks. Always new socks. Big deal in my life. What else we got? Waters. These waters. My wife has turned me on to rich people water, and I feel so guilty drinking it. But I don't know if it's different or not. But everybody says it is, and I'm a believer now. So we get these rich people glass waters. I tell you the most frivolous thing I'm taking on tour, if that's what you're searching for here. I'm taking a sauna and a cold plunge on tour.
Wow. An entire sauna, like on an 18-wheeler?
It's like a small, like 2-seater.
Yeah.
It's like really small, but it'll be But it's something I'm just too anchored into that not to take.
And you go full naked in there?
No, goodness, Greg. We're not just free balling in the
you don't
sauna.
free ball in the sauna? You're
I
supposed
sit with
to.
other people. No,
But if you have your own sauna on tour, you should be naked.
No, Evan, it's glass. What do you think it is? Just sitting in there. What are you trying to get me to catch a case? Who is this guy? Jesus Christ. Bring Evan Paul back.
Can Jelly Roll go to the grocery store? Or do you get stopped all the time?
I get stopped, but everybody's cool. I have a grocery store by my house that I go into that everybody is super sweet. It is really, really cool.
That's nice, man.
It is. I love grocery shopping too. And they'll stop me and say hi, but nobody asked for a picture or nothing. Everybody was just really, really, really cool.
That's cool, man.
They treat me like a neighbor. They all know I live in that little community, so it's kind of more like, they talk about cool neighbor stuff. Did you hear about such and such's farm selling? Or, what about that storm that it knocked down a tree? Oh, cool shit. You know
Is
what I mean?
Mr. Roll or Jelly?
No, they just say, hey. I think people call me Jelly. Just if you know me or feel like you know me, you call me Jelly. I respond to Jelly better than Jelly Roll.
Okay.
If you say Jelly Roll, I kind of go, oh, shit. You know what I mean? But if somebody's like, yo, Jelly, I'm like, oh, maybe he knows me.
I'm going to delete the roll. Okay.
Yeah, delete the roll.
One more. Give me one more. What's a country song that stops you in your tracks?
Ooh, a country song that, in what way stops me?
You hear it and you just stop. You're going to listen to it.
God, there's so many of those. Current or old?
Anything.
That's How a Cowgirl Says Goodbye by Tracy Lawrence. I love that record, man. I thought it was such a really cool spin on a breakup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like this happy fiddle, but these super sultry lyrics. And anytime I hear it, it tickles my bones like that. Kind of like James Taylor's Fire and Rain. Like those kind of same records. It's like, no matter where I'm at in life, we'll stop and listen to it.
Cool, man. Hey, man. Well, thanks for coming by, dude.
Thank you, baby. Enjoy hanging.
Yeah. All right, let's bring in Billy Dukes from behind the camera on this one. What do you got, Billy?
What was the one question that you managed to fire? Because we had a lot of questions for Jelly Roll, but the one question that you managed to fire off that you were a little nervous about asking?
Probably the one about weed. Just because I know how everybody is, it's divisive. But I knew just from interviewing him enough times and knowing his stance on everything that he would be okay talking about it. But that's kind of why I saved it till the end. I just didn't know how he would react, but I thought it turned out well.
I did too. It was pretty mid. And that was really when the interview started to really, really get good. At that point on. But you kind of, when you asked it, I kind of clenched a little because it was a little out of left field, but he rolled with it like nobody. And he said, what did he say? He took a dab? I had never heard of a dab.
Yeah, it's basically like a vape pen. He had like a vape pen while he was basically running the 5K. Which checks out for Jelly Roll,
I can't imagine that is. All right, listen, man. I exercising while high. I cannot imagine doing that under any set of circumstances. That seems like the opposite of what I ever wanted to do while high.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some people it inspires them, man. Maybe it inspires them to get going. But I don't know about jumping into that cold plunge, though. I don't know about doing that. Exercise is one thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, he has a different set of nerve endings, I think, than I do. But this ended up being the thing, really, that got picked up all over the place. I mean, how many different outlets have we seen pick up really his stance on marijuana? Because you asked that question, and he rolled that right into his stance on marijuana and broke it down for us in a way, like how he deals with his anxiety, and he'd be doing all this and that. I mean, what were we on? TMZ, Billboard, People, American, all these outlets, Fox News. You were everywhere.
And I thought it was interesting because I thought for sure that people have asked him about that in the past, or that I know he's talked about it in the past, but I think that just knowing country radio, I think that a lot of people are scared to ask him. And I think if I was just on one radio station and that was my job, I might not have asked that. But I think that because we're an outlet, a country music outlet, I think it makes it easier to ask that. But I think that's why a lot of people don't. And I think the country music is very divisive when it comes to that. But I mean, I've had Jelly Roll sit down and say, like, you know, your favorite country star probably smokes weed, you know, and you want me to name him? And then he like says, no, I'm not going to. And I think that's like the stigma within country music. I think that's why so many people picked it up, is that it's kind of uncharted territory as far as like speaking about it.
Yeah. And two, if you were just on a single radio station, that would be like your one interview with Jelly Roll, and you probably wouldn't have asked that question the first time you sat down with Jelly Roll.
That's true.
That was a pretty wide open interview too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I learned pretty quick that he's pretty wide open about speaking about stuff, which for me, it makes it a lot more fun because you know that, you know, and now when he comes back in, you know, we've even got questions now that we want him to elaborate on the deep questions. So I think at some point we're going to get to like memoir status with Jelly Roll. He's going to have to write something.
Do you think that... Well, let me ask you this first. So he kind of went from there, and then we started talking about his relationship with his wife, and kind of, I think you asked about the DMs, which was an awesome question and led to a good story. But he went right into like how people said he's in an open relationship, and he says, I guess he probably kind of is. And was that on your list of questions for Jelly Roll? Would you have gone there, that interview, if he hadn't gone there himself?
No, definitely. I don't think so. No. And then we were debating it in the office after he left. Like, what is he? I don't know. What constitutes an open marriage? Like, to me, it sounded like just talking about other people being hot is them considering that an open marriage. I think it's just subjective, but maybe we need to get into that more.
Well, that's the thing with him. Like, he is so wide open. You don't want to push it too far because you want to make sure he comes back. And there is a line. Like, I think maybe getting into the weeds there maybe is past the line. Maybe it was for this interview. But maybe it's not for the next. You don't want, like, the cookie jar is open. Like, you can kind of get a cookie or two out of there, but you don't want to take too many cookies, then you can't take any more cookies out of the cookie jar anymore. Yeah,
but now that it's like open, like now I can be like, when he comes back, I can be like, hey man, in our last interview, you had mentioned something about an open relationship, and a lot of people, you know, are curious off that. What did you mean? You know, and see if he kind of goes into that. But again, to me, it's crazy that these stories are already out there for someone that is so popular that everyone is talking about. So I'm almost like the weed one. I was almost like, you know, I don't know. Everybody knows that, but it's surprising to me what is still left out there that he wants to tell. Like, I mean, I know that it's public knowledge, but I didn't know. We were talking about, change the subject here. We were talking about it being a sophomore album. If he was nervous, he's put out 32 albums, you know, like, most people don't really know that, you know?
That's a good point. You know, part of it is he framed it in such a way with you that made it such a neat headline, and we were able to make it a really neat headline and readable story. You know, and before, even if he had talked about marijuana, like, I don't know if it was as concise or presented to like other media outlets in sort of a way that was as snacky.
And as he was saying it, I was like, ooh, headline, ooh, ooh. It just kept getting better. I was like, ooh, okay, ooh.
Do you think we've talked about this before, how some artists are really good about making sure whenever they do an interview that they leave that outlet with something, with some sort of headline? Like, the one person who was always really good at this, and we don't talk to him anymore for certain reasons, was Jimmy Allen. Like, every time he came in, like, he gave us like a little nugget to leave with. It was like, oh wow, Jimmy Allen just said this, whether it was like using toothpaste, you know, he had a weird toothpaste habit that I won't get into. But like, do you think Jelly Roll's conscious of that? Like, he was like, I got to give these guys, I want to make sure that Taste of Country, because we're a big outlet, they get something that's easy out of this interview.
I think so. Just because he always tells me Yeah, I think so, because he always tells me, like, on the times where he hasn't come in and he's done interviews via Zoom, he's always been like, man, I tell him I need to come in. I need to come in, taste the country, man. We just get more out of it when I come in than over Zoom. And then when he sat down, when he came in, he was like, I told him I need to come in. I told him. So I think that he's very smart with that stuff, and he realizes that, you know, every little nugget that he drops. Although I don't know, like, how he was just spitting out headlines about the marijuana stuff. Just everything he said was a headline. It almost sounded like pre-planned, you know, like, so I don't know. I don't know, like, how he does that. But everything was so concise and so, like, thought out, but it wasn't. So that's, to me, is intriguing.
There was a super interesting part about this interview that I watched on replay is when he was talking about his weight loss journey, and you shared that you used to be 500 pounds. I don't think you had shared that with him before. And I kind of looked at him. He was I almost wondered if he was looking at you, wondering if you were both BSing him a little bit, or kind of trying to sort of ingest that fact a little bit and evaluate it a little bit.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know, because, I mean, we follow each other on Instagram. I mean, I know that doesn't mean anything, and I know he's got millions of people. So I post some stuff sometimes, but I don't know. That's a good question. I also realized in that part, watching the video, just from being like a former overweight guy, like when he was answering like his relationship with food, like the way his his body language was, and you could tell he's very vulnerable when it comes to that, and he's still like, I don't know, I'm not like a psychologist, but just from a former fat guy standpoint, like he was almost like dismissive, you know, like of his relationship with food and how bad it is. I don't know. I'll have to show you next time you're in person on the video.
No.
But there's a point where I was like, oh man, like I really felt bad for him.
Well, that was the one question he didn't answer like directly, was like what his diet is like today, or what he's eating today. He didn't give any specifics about that, which I thought was a little kind of out of character for him, because he does go into detail usually pretty eagerly, but that one he kind of dodged a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, like it's a lot of it is mental, and it sounds like, you know, he's gonna have to work on it a lot, you know, because it sounds like he tried to cut everything out of his diet and change his relationship with food, but has had an issue, you know, and however he's got to work through that. But you know, some people don't need to, you know. I mean, whatever. He can still put on a good show, and he's doing all right. People love him, you know, whatever.
I do have one more question for you, but what I want to this topic, I thought one thing I think that he's doing right that I think is really important is, like, it's clear he's not just doing this the quick and easy way. Like he has a coach or a guide. He's addressing his diet. He's exercising, because I think a lot of times the thing people miss is, like, people who lose that much weight, like there's an amount of aftercare that you have to be aware of. Like, it's not just an easy life at that point. Like, the damage is done to his joints, and he's got to be aware of that. Or, you know, he needs to continue to kind of manage his body in a pretty, in a way that's really intentional afterwards. And it sounds like he is aware of that, or at least he has people around him who are aware of that. Yeah,
it's not for everybody. It's you know, if he wants to do it, he'll do it. You got to really set your mind to it.
What's the question? Because we only had, I think, 20 minutes with him, and we had a lot of questions that we didn't get to. But what's the one you didn't get to that you wanted to?
Oh, man. I don't know. I had one, too, to answer this, but I forgot. What did I don't know. I really want to know more about, like, his finances and, like, his lifestyle and, like, where he lives and what he's investing in and what he's doing with the money and things like that. I kind of want to know, like, the money side of Jelly Roll.
He doesn't before you kind of asked him what he buys money, like what he's blowing money on. And he didn't love that, but that's interesting too. Like, is he into crypto?
Yeah, or is like, does Jelly Roll own shares of Disney World? You know, like what do we need to know about the investment portfolio of Jelly Roll? I think I'd want to get it more into that, I think. Or, yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, or just some past stories hanging with rappers.
I don't know if TMZ is going to pick up our exclusive on Jelly Roll's portfolio. Jelly Roll has shocking thoughts on annuities.
Right. Yeah. Jelly Roll is a ground level investor in AOL. Yeah, I don't think anyone cares.
Maybe. Who knows? Next time with Jelly Roll.
Yeah.